Hello everybody, this is Kyrix with another edition of This Week in Kyrix. Today is technically Thursday, November 3rd of 2016, but this is for the week of Wednesday, November 2nd, 2016. Okay, why Thursday? Well, of course I have an excuse. Do you not watch this show? Seriously, okay, you may recall last week that I mentioned that Willow and Oreo were on some medication. Which they are. They were. Eye drops for Willow to be given every 8 hours, and antibiotics for Oreo to be given every 12. Basically, this meant that at midnight, 6 a.m., noon, 2 p.m., and 10 p.m., and then back to midnight, I had to be awake and home to give them medication. On top of that, we're gonna roll a random this time. Fitzabelle? Framley? Bra? Lecco. I like Lecco. Lecco's a cute name. Anyway, on top of that, I had to be home at 9 to feed them, and at some point I had to walk the dog, so I got no sleep. Well, last night, the 2nd, was the last night that I needed to perform these medications on the cats and the dog. Well, not the dog, but the cats. So that was pretty fucking cool. However, I was exhausted. I've been exhausted for 2 freaking weeks because I haven't gotten any sleep. I mean, I've gotten sleep, but not really. You know? Because if you do that math, you're probably thinking, well, Kyrix, there's 2, 6, and 8 hours that you could sleep. Yes, but here's the thing. That's only if I get tired at the right time. If I get tired in the block where I have 8 hours, then sure, I can get 8 hours of sleep. But I don't. That 8-hour block is the time that I'm most active, because that's the time when everyone else is awake. So if I want to do anything with other people, I have to be awake too. You know what I mean? And, well, that leads to some problems. It just does. So I skipped Tuesday, rather. I skipped Tuesday. And then yesterday... Okay, first off, before November, you know, I want to say about October 28th, October 29th, maybe, I noticed... I don't remember what it was. I'd been talking about getting Civ 5 to play with my friends, right? And I happened to decide, hey, I should look up and see if my computer can even handle Civ 5. No, because it could be a total potato. You know, and I'm not doing what Flamin' Shark does and just potato as an adjective. Potato just generally is a stand-in in situations like this for piece of shit electronics. And my computer could have been a potato. And as it turns out, it is not, but I'll get into that story in a minute. So I decided to look up the specs, and I had the game in my wish list, so naturally, I looked at it. But while I was in my wish list, I also saw Castle Crashers, which is also in my wish list, fancy that. And noticed, oops, that's right, don't have that axe yet, and happened to notice that Castle Crashers, normally $14.99, was $2.99 on sale. And I'm figuring this thing's gotta end within a week. I looked it up, and sure enough, it ends on November 1st. So, I had two choices. Well, 3 choices, but I didn't want to go with choice number 3, which was borrow from the roommate. Choice 1 was to ask Sammy, but Sammy has her own problems to deal with. And she's kind of hard to get a hold of, so I contacted Jay and said, hey man, can I borrow $3? He's like, why? I'm like, because Castle Crashers is on sale until November 1st. And I want the game, and I want to get it while it's cheap. So he just got it for me, you know? And when I wanted to get Civ 5, I wanted Genghis Khan, because I like playing the Mongols. Which is really ironic, because I do not play the way the Mongols are meant to be played. I just like the Mongols in general. I'm fascinated by Genghis Khan and all of that. You know, I've gone on record multiple times on this channel stating him as probably my favorite historical conqueror in history. And one of my favorite historical figures, period. So I just like playing him. Plus he's really awesome in Civilization Revolution, which this game was not. Civ Rev, I mean, it's still pretty fucking awesome. But Genghis Khan is only in the DLC, so I'm looking at the DLC, and I couldn't find out which one he was in. So that made it hard to find out which one to buy, obviously. And I happened to look it up, and it turns out the DLC is, the game is $29.99. And, Gods and Kings, which is the religion pack, which is something I wanted to play with, and I'm actually having fun with. Gods and Kings was also that same price. And I think Brave New World, which is the other one, was roughly the same. But, were I to get the DLC Mega Pack thing, which is to say all the DLC plus this, then I'm looking at $50. Yeah, it's like $49.33 or something like that. And I mentioned that to him, and I'm like, well, I want to get it, but I've got money this month, but I really don't want to fuck with it. You know, I only have so much to work with, and this is one of those rare times when I had a lot of money. Plus, I was also intending to get possibly Dragon Ball Fusion this month. I was intending to get Attack on Titan, which I didn't do, and several other things. So I opted not to, but and he's like, well, hey, if you want to wait till payday, you get the game, and I'll give you the $20 for the DLC. I'm like, I can do that. I hate asking for the money, but I can do that. So the next day, which was yesterday, he Skypes me and he's like, hey, were you interested in running Civ 6? Because, to backtrack, the whole reason I'm in a Civ 5 mood, or Civilization mood, period, is because Civ 6 just came out, and I've been watching Team 4-Star and Markiplier play it constantly, and it's just put me in that mode. And, you know how it is if you're a gamer. The new game releases and it makes you want to play any and every game in the series. And that's what happened here. So I'm like, I would not mind getting Civ 6, but I don't think my computer could handle it. And I'm like, why? It's like, well, no reason. So we basically look up the specs, and my computer could probably run it, but it wouldn't run it well, so we opted not to bother. And he revealed that his reasoning was he was just basically going to get it for me as an early Christmas present, and he got me Civ 5 instead with all the DLC. So, just to catch you up, I now have Castle Crashers and I own Civ 5. And he got Castle Crashers too, because it was on sale, why wouldn't he? And I got the DLC for myself because I wanted the 2 knights and the extra weapons. And I asked him if he wanted them, so I bought them for him, which the friggin' $1.98 for both DLC for him doesn't even come close to the $50, but it's what I can manage, you know. Not that he said anything. I don't want to make him look like a dick, because he's not. He never mentioned anything. I'm just saying, to my mindset, he doesn't even come close, but it's what I could manage, you know. And it turns out he's not a huge fan of Castle Crashers. I mean, he's like, well, I don't know if I even like the game to get the DLC. I'm like, dude, worst case scenario, I'm out $2. You know, even I can soak that. I'm not that poor that I can't soak $2, you know. So he's like, okay, and I got it for him, and turns out he didn't like it. Shit happens, you know. Not his fault, not my fault. And it wasn't that he didn't like it, it's that he doesn't really like the genre of it. But hey, that's the thing. So, today, I realized, hey, I basically saved $80, you know, because I didn't get Civ 5, I didn't get Castle Crashers, I didn't get... What's it? I didn't get, oh, there's a word. I didn't get Attack on Titan, so I'm like, you know what? I've got some money to spare. Not a huge amount, but I've got some money to spare. And I was looking at my wish list, because I couldn't remember. I knew there were 4 things on it. There was, like, Pit Fighters or whatever, which is... Same people who made Castle Crashers. It's not out yet. It's just kind of... closed beta, I think, is what it is. You know. And it's something that someday I would like to get. So I basically put it in my wish list. And of course Castle Crashers itself was in there, so was Civ 5, but something else was, and I couldn't remember what, so I just wanted to look at it. Turns out it was the Final Fantasy V PC version. And I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at my math, I'm like, fuck it. So now I own that as well. So why didn't I get this done yesterday? Civilization. Period. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of these. Flat out, plain and simple, I spent all day playing Civ 5. Mostly with Jay, a little bit by myself. You know, because we played... I put about at least 8 hours minimum into that game yesterday. It was pretty much all I did. On top of that, in the areas where I actually had the energy to stay awake, I have been working on my secret Pokemon project, the one I won't tell you about. And it's almost done. It's coming so close, it's gonna finish, it's gonna be great. Yeah, I'm finally... So many false starts on it where I just didn't make it far enough, and this time I've got it, and I feel so good about that. I'm accomplishing something, and it's really cool. So it'll be uploaded in its entirety long before November 18th, which gives me time to work on Platinum, maybe. And then I will get back to Philly Fantasy VI, which is also almost done. As for Harvest Moon, yesterday, because I went to HeroClix and Anubis gave me the last money he owes me. He owed me $25 for his laptop again. And this is the last month, so he's free and clear. So, round of applause for Anubis, legitimately. Congrats to him, he owns a laptop now. It's his, free and clear. I couldn't take it from him if I wanted to. You know, I have no more claim to it, it's all his. And I don't mean to sound condescending clapping for him, I'm genuinely happy for him because he's worse off than I am financially, so. For him to get a laptop and be able to buy it off me, even though it took him like a year and a half to pay it off, congrats. You deserve it. He's a good guy. He deserves to have some cool toys. You know. But I used that money, and I got the DLC for Castle Crashers. I got something else. I think it was a drink and a bag of Munchies. Literally, the Munchies chips at Wawa. And I got my capture cards. They're not here yet, but they should be here within a week or two. So I have 2 brand new capture cards. If they both work, then that will be my actual new capture card and my redundant backup. Because I need a fucking redundant backup. Oh wait, no. I have stuff to sell you. Stop. Just in case. So yeah, I'll be good on capture cards now, for a change. Which is awesome, because these delays were killing me. And, yeah, played Civ, played all those. So Harvest Moon, when I get those, I'll resume that. I will get caught up on Xenoverse. Well, I am caught up on Xenoverse. I've got the entire year covered. Caught up on Digimon World. Finish MGS4, start Peace Walker, start Phantom Pain, all that good shit. Just be done with it. That'll be awesome. So, anyway, with any luck, next month I will be reserving Dragon Ball Fusion for myself. I already own, I just do not possess, but I own Sun and Moon. Tomorrow I'm going to Mom's house. Halloween, we had some trick-or-treaters, but mostly it was just I got to eat a lot of candy. You know? And the roommate's girlfriend was not particularly pleased. She initially blamed her boyfriend for it, but mostly with me. That all the Snickers were gone. Now, don't eat sap! I'm pretty sure that's bad for you. Yeah, that's actually bad for you. Don't do that. Don't be dumb. And I basically said, hey, tell you what, I was gonna do it with food stamps, but I ended up doing it with cash because I was out. I'm like, I will get a bag of fun-sized Snickers, and I ended up splitting it with her. We each had 5 of them. Which, there were like 10 of them in the bag anyway that she would have had, so she basically got a whole bag of whatever it was that they bought, you know. So we just called that free and clear. So yeah, I'm making some decent progress on the Let's Plays. I can't wait for the new capture card to be in. I hope it's less of a pain in the ass than the current one I have, because the current one is just a nightmare to connect. I mean, you've probably seen me a couple times when I was in a less stable recording situation, where I didn't have my desk. Like, I would jostle the wire, or the cats would, or something stupid like that, and it would come loose. So, hopefully these will be more reliable, they won't wiggle, you know. It'll be I plug it in and it automatically seeks out and does its shit. Here's hope, right? But, again, just a matter of time, really. And all of those just went away. I lost all of that. Enjoy, fish. Enjoy. And to be perfectly honest, when I'm done recording this, I'm probably going right back on Civ, because I'm having some fun with it. I'm actually currently in a multiplayer battle with Jay. And it's going decently for me. It could be going better, but it could also be going a lot worse. Because, see, he's actually played the game before, and I have only played 2 and Revolution, which are nothing alike, and 2 is only tangentially like this one, because that was decades ago, you know? I mean, they've barely anything in common anymore. So, yeah, I'm currently enacting a sinister little plot in the game to try and, do something. Which, he might be aware of what it is. He hasn't indicated that he's aware. But it's something he could easily find out if he were to check what I was up to, you know? But we'll see how that pans out for me. Hopefully well. Oh, Egg Festival. That'll be fun. Not really, but it'll be fun. I actually a lot of parsnips there, boy. Alright, how many of these little shits do I have to do? Oh, looks like I don't need any fertilizer this time at least. Okay, that's 25. God damn, that's a lot of parsnips. I think I pretty much seeded the whole field except for that one spot right there. And by seeded, in this case, I mean fertilized. So, yeah, that spot definitely is lacking fertilizer. I think it's the only one on the whole block. So if I make, let's say, 50 more or something like that, I should be good. Now, obviously, next month it's going to be blueberry heaven. Alright. So I really only need 23 today. So let's do this. So, I've been getting a lot done. Now, HeroClix. How did HeroClix go? That's a fun story. Okay, last week's game, I ran an anti-registration team, which was Spider-Man, Spider-Woman, Danny Rand as Daredevil, that is to say Iron Fist masquerading as Daredevil, who else? So yeah, Danny Rand as Daredevil, Wiccan, and Black Panther. So this week, being the lazy asshole that I am, I decided, let's run the same team! Except the judge basically talked to me like, I'm surprised you didn't play Falcon. Because I made such a big deal about getting Falcon. And he's a good fig. And so I swapped out Danny for Falcon because they're the exact same points. And the new kid came in. He actually made it. We didn't think he was going to show, but he did, and he had a very good showing for himself. I don't remember if he took first, second, or third, but he definitely placed very well for his first real game with people who know what they're doing. You know, and I'm glad I didn't scare him off, because I basically told him, I'm like, look, you are hanging with some of the best players in the world. Which is true, we are. Let's take a couple of these, just in case. So I basically said, you're going to have an uphill climb against any of us, but the good news is, if you can hold your own against us, you can hold your own against anyone in the world. You know? And, I volunteered, because he's like, okay, who wants to be his first round? And I'm like, I'll do it, because I'm a pretty ruthless player, but I am really good to new people. Now, my strategy is incredibly scuzzy. It really is. If you're playing against me and you ask me for advice, you're gonna get the answer you deserve, you know? But if you're a new person, I will give you genuinely good advice. Now, that's not to say when I give you advice against a normal person that it's bad advice, but the advice will always benefit me more than it does you. But yeah, I'm good at coaching him, you know? Skinner used to complain that I'm basically too rough, that I do not hold back, and I don't. You know, I think it's very much a disservice to my opponent to do that. To not take you as seriously as possible, you know? Because basically, if I don't take you seriously, that says you're not worth my effort. And seriously, what's a more dick move than to say, you're not even worth the effort, man, you know? So, he also said, I'm gonna be sitting next to him and coaching him. Anyone have a problem with that? I'm like, no, just go ahead. He's a new player. He needs all the coaching he can get. And between me and the judge, he took out a sizable chunk of my team. But we spent so much time explaining rules that, let's say our rounds are 40 minutes, I got about 30 minutes of actual playing. If I'd had an extra 5 minutes to make up for that, I'd have wiped it. Because I was down to just Wiccan and Black Panther, but Wiccan and Black Panther alone are enough to devastate just about any team, especially in my hands. That being said, I did incredibly bad this week. I was 1-2. Let's call it 1.5 to 1.5, because I'm only counting that as a half loss to the game. There's a one guy who used to go to our other venue. Real nice guy. Normally doesn't do well. Not because he's a bad player, but because he doesn't have as many chances to play, so he's not as practiced as we are. He didn't make nearly as many games as we did. Plus, even before we got our own venue, we would go over to each other's houses and play recreationally. not just go to tournaments. We would fucking do this. We trained, you know. I mean, we put in some fucking Dragon Ball Z training. We extreme to this shit. And he absolutely whooped my ass Tuesday. And good for him. I told him, man, you had a good game. You did good. I can't even remember what he was playing. I think it was a bunch of Age of Ultron stuff. He was playing Avengers, that's what it was. And then I played P3, which oh god, he was just playing Poison Ivy, Harley Quinn, and Emperor Joker. And Emperor Joker and Black Panther had this knockdown, drag-out fight. Just a fucking slugfest that I eventually won. And it was just ridiculous how rough that was. But we had fun. It was a good game, you know. And dinner! I was supposed to have Golden Corral, which the funny thing is, my roommate had told me that the judge had mentioned that to him. And the judge's like, oh, I never mentioned that. And the funny thing is, I'm not even a huge fan of Golden Corral. As far as buffets go, they're kind of low on my list. But I've been eating ramen for about a month and a half, it seems like. So I wanted some food. And more importantly, I wanted a buffet. Which basically meant Golden Corral. So, I looked up the hours, and it basically said, oh, they're open till 11. We get there at about, let's say, fucking 9 o'clock. Or no, let's say 8:53, because that's about what it was. They tell us to close at 9, and they're trying to take his credit card, like, oh, so you wanna eat? Like, no, not for 7 minutes, not a fucking buffet, are you high? So we end up going across the street to Steak and Shake after spending 5 or 10 minutes in the front parking lot just trying to figure out where we're gonna go. But I ended up getting a pretty decent meal. I got 2 chicken strips and a cheese fry. And it took forever to get the waiter to take that order, because he's like, you realize that the chicken fingers come with fries? I mean, yes, I realize that. Apparently, he had more faith in me, and he didn't want to accept the fact that I'm a big fat pig. But I was, and I got my 3 orders of fries, 1 with cheese on them. But I will see you all next week. Thank you for hanging out. Hopefully I'll have more to talk about. Though this is one of those rare weeks where I had plenty to talk about. I could probably go on for another 10 minutes, but I'm not gonna. Bye-bye, everybody.